interest. Okay, as usual, if you become aware of anything as we work our way through the agenda, please let that be known as soon as you know yourself. Item 3, minutes of the last council meeting. Are you all happy that it's an accurate representation of what took place? Do I have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Parker, and a seconder. Well, I'll second it then. Thank you, Councillor Johnson. And all in favour, please show.
That is carried.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. That brings us to public representations and questions. We have none. Sorry, Councillor Moody.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Under 3B and matters arising, we'd just like to. I understand that my wife and I were unable to attend the last meeting. I understand we're unable to amend those minutes, but I would like it minuted that we did give our apologies to to Councillor Ewings, who was late and didn't give our apologies. It was a medical emergency, so we weren't able to make the normal notification. So if it could be placed on the record, please.
Councillor Mrs Mann.
Actually, she did give your apologies.
Beg your pardon?
She did give your apologies.
Yeah, but too late.
Ah, I see.
After the apologies were asked, but she came late. I just wanted to put on record the reason why.
That will be done.
Thank you.
So, coming back to 4 then, public representations. We haven't had any, but I'm pleased to welcome our County Councillor to the meeting. Councillor Sellis, is there anything you wish to share with us?
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. I haven't prepared anything, and I think councillors are aware that I no longer give a report because you want it almost 2 weeks before the actual meeting, and it's pretty well chip paper after 2 weeks. Because the issues have generally moved on. We know how quickly things move. I haven't, but if through you, Mr Mayor, if anybody does have a question and you approve, if they wish to ask me, then I'll do my best. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any members have any questions for our County Councillor, please? Councillor Mrs Johnson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to know what's going on down at the Alexander Centre, please. There's a planning application to put some quite high anti-climb fence around it. The Outdoor Education Forum in Tavistock has a store at the rear of that, and it seems to cover that area, which means we will find it difficult to get to our store, which we've paid a lot of money to get refurbished last year. So I just want you to be aware of that, and to help us if you can to make sure that we can still get access to it, because I don't particularly want to have to lug 10 tools tents out of there right down to the car park because they're very heavy. Thank you.
Through you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, thanks very much, Councillor Johnson. I've read the comments from you as councillors about the planning application. I don't know all the details, however, I am meeting with Cabinet members and officers next week, so I will take that message to them. It sounds perfectly reasonable.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor and then Councillor Mrs Mann.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Similar question, if I may, regarding the Alexander Centre. I was discussing the other day with the ladies downstairs about our sign that actually redirects people that are looking for the registry office to the Alexander Centre. So my first question, I suppose, is the registry office still located there? And if it's not, or it's going to be moved, when and where will it be moved, please?
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. I don't know, and I can find out, and as ever, if you do have queries, I'm pretty good at looking at my emails. I have been on leave for the first time in 15 years, I've caught up, but I didn't see any questions about that. But yeah, it's a very reasonable question, so I'll try and find out for you.
Thank you. Councillor Mrs Mann.
Yeah, I just wanted to know whether there was any update on the progress for the waste facility. I know that Devon County were going to be replacing that, and I wanted to know what the timeline was. I think it was supposed to be coming this year or early next year. I just wanted to know if that's still the timeline.
Thank you very much. I sent an email to the senior lead engineer and member of Devon County Council for an update. The last I heard, it was due to start in 2025. It'll be spring 2025. You know that I have a really strong personal desire to get this done. I actually stood in 2009 describing the Crowdale site as little more than a tip. And we've had to take our time, and so I'm watching it very closely. I haven't received a reply yet, but then I only sent the email yesterday because I was only back in the office yesterday. But I will share it with you when I've got the response, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a final question for our County Councillor? No, in that case, thank you very much indeed, Councillor Sellis, for informing us. Moving on then, items requiring a decision. Number 5, General Finance. A, Schedule of Payments, and B, Budget Monitoring Report. It's just worth mentioning that these are effectively our half-year figures and therefore shed some light on what the end-of-year turnout is likely to look like. Do any of you have any questions or comments to make? We are asked to consider and endorse them. Are you happy to take A and B together? Okay, in which case, can I have a proposer? And a seconder? And all in favour, please show.
Carried.
Thank you. Budget and Policy Committee, item 6, Deputy Mayor. Oh, yes, Deputy Mayor.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'd like to apologise for my absence on the 15th. I was unavailable for work reasons. Thankfully, my colleague, Councillor Johnson, very kindly stepped into the breach and chaired that meeting. So I'd ask her, please, if she would present the minutes. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I present the minutes of the Budget and Policy Committee held on the 15th of October. 172, apologies for absence. 173, confirmation of minutes. 174, declarations of interest. 175, polling district and polling places review. And there was a recommendation there. It was recommended that due to the deadline for a response on the 16th of October 2024, the Town Council endorsed the committee's prior submitted response to support the ongoing use of Fairway Furniture as a polling station for the South East and South West wards at its meeting on the 29th of October 2024.
Thank you very much. Just so everyone's clear, we're asking you to endorse the recommendation because of the time available between the BNP meeting and the deadline for submitting any comments. This comment went in prior to this meeting of council. So as I say, we're really asking you to endorse it. However, if any of you have any further comments to make or recommendations, this is the time to do it. In which case, can I have, well, the recommendation has been proposed. Can I have a seconder?
Second that for me.
Deputy Mayor, and then all in favour, please show.
Carried.
Thank you.
176, out of hours on call provision. And it was recommended that the proposal to endorse proposal be endorsed and Unison be requested to consider agreement to the variation of the collective agreement in accordance with the request of staff, so as to enable the on-call allowance brackets currently £200, to be adjusted in line with the applicable rate of the Consumer Prices Index increase as at the 1st of April each year.
Thank you very much. So again, the recommendation has been proposed. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Drevman? None? And does anybody wish to make any comments or debate this? In which case, all in favour, please show.
Carried.
Thank you very much.
177, Notice of Conclusion of External Audit 23-24. Urgent matters brought forward at the discretion of the Chairman. 178, Community Land Trusts. 179, Meet the Leader, Devon County Council. It was recommended that Tavistock Town Council appoint 2 representatives to attend this session at its meeting on the 29th of October 24 and agree a list of topics which could be raised on behalf of the Town Council.
Thank you very much. And those with sharp eyes will have noticed the deliberate mistake. This meeting's actually on the 4th of December, not the 29th of October. Councillor Johnson.
Sorry, I think it's to appoint the representatives at the meeting of the 29th of October.
Correct. Cancel my last signal. Okay, so we're being asked to do 2 things here. The first is to appoint 2 members to attend the session, and it does mean physically going to Oakhampton. This is not a virtual meeting. This is an in-person meeting. And also to consider whether there are any specific topics which our representatives should raise with the leader of the County Council. So first part of that then, first of all, are you happy with the recommendation as it stands, and then we'll deal with the content of it. So it's been proposed. Seconder? Thank you, Councillor Parker, and all in favour? Okay, fine. So let's see whether we can go through the actions. 2 representatives. Who would like to step forward and go to meet the leader? Don't be shy.
I will take on that onerous task, Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor, thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Johnson? That sounds, if that's the wish of council. Anybody else? Okay, fine. Well, I'm happy to propose that you be our 2 representatives. Do I have a seconder? Thank you very much. And all in favour, please show.
Carried.
Okay, now put your thinking hats on. Are there specific topics that you would wish to take to this Let's hear your suggestions. Councillor Parker.
Personally, I would like to raise the issue of bus services within Tavistock, specifically the 86 and the 89.
Yeah, Deputy Mayor.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I think most of you will agree, if not all of you will agree, that one of the things that has been of major concern over the last year or so are highways issues in general. And I personally am constantly concerned about the effect of highways issues, things like roadworks and bus services perhaps, on the business and the state of our high street and shops. So I know that's a rather amorphous subject, but I think highways issues in general would be worth mentioning.
Thank you. Councillor Hutton?
I would think specifically coordination. Coordination of some of the highways works as a specific thing.
Thank you. Any other suggestions? Councillor Munro and then Councillor Mann.
I'd like Devon County to bang the same drum about broadband speed. I'd note from Councillor Mann's report BT meeting that we held. But I think the whole town has issues with broadband speed. Particularly if more place was like 14 megabytes.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Mann?
I would really like to have the money that goes from our taxation for housing, which is from second homes, which has come in, to go back into housing, which has been indicated by Devon County Council that they're going to spend it on potholes instead. And that tax, which was put on second homes, was, I think, intended for it to help with the housing crisis, not to help with the pothole crisis, although that is also of great weight. I just think it would be worth raising that they're spending the money in the wrong place if what they're taxing is second household owners.
Thank you very much. I think that's quite a reasonable list of topics. Is there a final one that any member would like to suggest? Okay, well, we'll ask our representatives to take those topics with them, and if they have the opportunity to raise them, then to do so, and to feed back to us what, if any, response they receive. Councillor Johnson.
Thank you. 180, which is exclusion of press and public. So
Thank you very much. In which case, we'll take any remaining items on that on those minutes in part 2. Which brings us to item 7, Development, Management and Licensing Committee, Monday the 7th of October, previously circulated, and yesterday is the 28th of October, which have been tabled today. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I rise to present the minutes to the DM&L committee on Monday the 7th of October. 162, apologies for absence. 163, confirmation of minutes. 164, declarations of interest. 165, Dartmoor National Park Authority. 166, town planning issues. And on the 166, the town planning issues, there was a recommendation which has already been covered in B&P on the previous notes on there. This was regarding the walking, cycling and things where we didn't have time to consider it in that thing. 167, general correspondence. 168, Tavistock Neighbourhood Development Plan. 169, urgent business, brought forward at the discretion of the chairman. 170, planning applications, and the recommendation is that the views of the town councillors listed in Appendix B be passed to the local authority for consideration.
Okay, that recommendation has been moved. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Parker, all in favour, please show. And Councillor Smith, could I just take you back to 166? As you say, our comments were forwarded before they could be considered by full council. We are asked to endorse those responses, and perhaps we could do so. So could I have a proposal that we endorse the responses that we submitted, Councillor Parker, and a seconder, please? Councillor Mann, and all in favour, please show.
Carried.
Thank you very much. That's great. Councillor Smith.
Right, 171, next meeting, and that's the end of those ones, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
The second item is the DM&L meeting on Monday the 28th of October in this chamber last night. 183, apologies for absence. 184, confirmation of minutes. 185, declarations of interest. 186, Dartmoor National Park Authority. 187, town planning issues. 188, general correspondence. 189, Tavistock Neighbourhood Development Plan. And 190, urgent business, brought forward at the discretion of the chairman. 191, planning applications. Little a is planning decisions by West Devon, and little b is new planning applications, and it's recommended that the views of the town councillors listed on Appendix B be passed to the local authority for consideration.
Thank you very much. Councillor
I beg your pardon, Mr. Mayor. I should have declared an interest in planning application 3201/24. It's my son and his partner's house.
Thank you. The recommendation has been moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Parker, and all in favour, please show.
Carried.
Thank you very much.
And the last item, 192, next meeting, which is Tuesday the 19th of November, 6:30 in this chamber, and all councillors are very welcome to come along and enjoy the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Okay. Okay, so we now have item 8. As you know, we have a casual vacancy at the moment in the South West Ward, and this has been advertised for co-option. And I'm very pleased to welcome Richard Edelman to this meeting. Mr. Edelman has put his name forward to be considered for co-option, and that's very nice. Mr. Edelman, we're able to give you magnificent sum of 2 minutes to add anything you'd like to add to your application. Yes, if you come to this microphone here and just press the button to fire it up, that's it. Then once you've said your bit, we'll ask you to withdraw from the room whilst we consider the application, and then as soon as we've done that, we'll invite you back in. Whatever the outcome, you're very welcome to stay for the meeting until we get to what's called part 2, at which point we do clear the room apart from members and officers, because we go into the confidential section. Over to you.
Sure. So firstly, thank you for inviting me to speak today. I think your opening remarks and statement, Mr. Mayor, were very apt, and I probably couldn't put it better myself as to why I put myself forward to join the council, or be considered to join the council. To give you a bit of context, I moved down here in 2011 with my then girlfriend and now wife, who had got a job at Derriford Hospital to be a trainee neurosurgeon. And bar a 3-year period where she went up to Cambridge to a PhD, she's far cleverer than me, and many people wonder why she is with me for that reason. But we've stayed in Tavistock and really enjoyed it, and we've started a family here. So we're not going anywhere, and I want to be, as all of you do, part of progressing Tavistock in a positive way to make it the best place to sort of work, live and raise a family. So that's the premise for why I've asked to put myself forward. In terms of experience, and I appreciate I'm short of time, so I'll keep it brief, in that the most impactful thing that I've done in my life so far in terms of experience in this kind of setting is run my own business, a small business on Dartmoor. It's a pub. It's very involved. You wear a lot of different hats, sometimes finance, sometimes HR, and sometimes, often most importantly, pot wash. But they're all really important parts, and I'm not going to impress anyone here, but as you all have varied experience. But yeah, it's been a real challenge, and a lot of challenges have come my way with first a major fire, and then COVID, and then I had a period where I had to sort of rather suddenly shut the business, which for various reasons which I won't go into. But yeah, major challenges which I've managed to overcome, and I'm running the pub again, and it's up and running. So yeah, lots of experience on that level. I'm a management accountant, qualified management accountant in a previous life, but yeah, since coming down here, very different life in Tavistock and in Devon. Very much enjoy it, and very much wanted to see it continue that way.
Thank you very much, and your timekeeping was impeccable. Okay, perhaps I could ask you to make yourself comfortable in the office opposite. And Councillor Hutton, if you'd be so clear. Oh, sorry, we should ask questions. Are you happy to take questions?
Yeah, of course.
Councillor Parker?
I should probably say that Richard and I have run across each other socially on several occasions over the years, but not in any way that prejudices my thinking.
Okay, thank you for telling us that.
Could I ask, I mean, we've talked about the town occasionally in the past,
Yeah.
what do you think is the most important issue facing Tavistock at the moment?
Wow. What is the most important issue? I mean, I suppose on a macro level, the challenges that we're facing is, population size, pressure on housing, pressure on health services, we have got a growing population and an ever-increasing older population. Well, me included, we're all on the same conveyor belt, aren't we? So, and I see a lot of voluntary organisations around Tavistock that engage to try and ease those pressures, but clearly that's probably a national and on a national and on a micro level for the town, probably from what I can see, one of the major issues. And a lot of it you don't see because a lot of it is behind people's doors, in their homes and stuff, or behind homes, so it's not always evident. And then, if I can have one more, the High Street has clearly, very obviously had its problems in the more recent past and currently. So hopefully I'd like to see that get regenerated and form in perhaps a different way. But something that everyone can engage in.
Thank you. I'll invite one more question if there is one. Okay. In that case, if we would withdraw just for a moment, and then we'll call you back in. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, am I okay being here?
I'm just checking, actually, Demo.
Because I think this really is the town council, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah.
So shall I bid you a good evening?
And a good evening to you too.
Yeah. It's got to be printed on a politically correct, isn't it?
Yeah, on the same issue, it's always puzzled me, Mr. Mayor, why we asked the candidate to withdraw. Because, of course, the video is still running, and he can go home and listen to every word that we've said.
Now, members, now you've been reminded that the video is still running. Does anyone have any comments or observations to make, please? Councillor Hutton.
I thought he was excellent. Somebody articulate, does seem to know what's going on. So, absolutely, we're very lucky.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, in that case, can I propose that we invite Mr. Edelman to join council? Do we need to do that? Yes, no?
If you want me to do it by secret ballot, but it's up to you.
Do you want to do it by secret ballot, or are you happy to raise hands? Is anybody not happy to raise hands? Yeah.
I think the reason we do it by secret ballot is because inevitably there will be occasions where candidates are strongly favoured, candidates are less strongly favoured, and indeed circumstances where candidates may not be favoured. And of course, if we adopt a different approach according to perceptions, then it de-standardises the process, and I think it probably is helpful to have a consistency of approach, irrespective of your initial reactions. It doesn't change the result, but it does mean that we treat all candidates the same. Otherwise, a candidate is liable to know what the outcome might be if we have a secret ballot on one occasion and not on another. So if you can either say yes or no on your ballot paper, then we will know the outcome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Edelman, I'm pleased to tell you that Council are very, very happy indeed to welcome you to join us by co-option. You will be a fully participating member of the Council from the next meeting. In the meantime, there are various formalities that have to be gone through, and you'll be contacting him in due course, Carl?
Yes. John will make initial contact and then we'll suit out a time suitable for you for the induction and the paperwork, if that's agreeable.
So, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes, yes, certainly. Yes, you can stay if you wish until we get to part 2, or if you need to leave, that's fine. We fully understand. Yeah. Sure.
Thank you very much. Well done.
Okay, moving on. Service reports. There is no General Manager report for this meeting. So we have the Pannier Market report, the Works Department report, and the Town Hall and Butchers Hall report. I hope you've all had an opportunity to read through those, and we'll take the Pannier Market report first. Are there any questions that I'm sure the General Manager will try to answer for us? I'll take that. Councillor Johnson.
Sorry, it's not a question, Mr Mayor, but just a comment to congratulate the Pannier Market on the Goose Fair trading. I think sometimes it's been a bit of a struggle on Goose Fair Day, but it seems that they've got the combination of times and offers right this year, and they had a very successful day, so well done to all involved.
Thank you. I'm sure we all agree with you. It was very well done. Works Department report. Any questions or comments, please? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to address the last paragraph on the first page, which talks about the allotments and the concerns about vehicles and cyclists coming down Butcher Park Hill, which is a subject close to my heart, as I walk up and down there quite a lot. I would just like to say it is also my concern that speeds are in excess of the speed limit there. Actually, quite a lot of bikes, especially, seem to race down. Literally, they are racing down that hill at way past 30 miles an hour. But I understand from the organisers that the Speedwatch group have now been given permission to address that problem, and they will be using their equipment to measure speeds on Bush Park Hill. So I think that's a step in the right direction. Obviously, it's not going to actually stop people speeding, but maybe there will be some deterrent value.
Okay, thank you. Following in the frame of congratulations, I would like to say thank you to the Works Department and all involved in rescuing the Honour Oak when suddenly a very large bough fell off without warning, demolishing a bus shelter in the process. The tree has had its necessary remedial treatment. The bough has been chopped up and carted away. There's been some balancing work done to the tree, and there's even a new bus shelter. And I know that wasn't all done by the Works Department, but the Works Department were instrumental in getting all of that going and organised. So I think we're all very grateful to them. The Honour Oak's a really important tree. It's very much part of the town's history, and it would be a tragedy to lose it. Councillor Parker.
Thank you. On the same subject, Mr. Mayor, a couple of the local residents has asked, did we manage to get any cuttings off the bough?
I don't know. Do you know, General Manager, whether we've gone in for a bit of reproduction?
I'm sure the Works Manager will have that in hand. Probably.
It's a good point, though, isn't it? Propagating it. Yeah. Okay, so that's the Works Department report. Any other questions or comments? Town Hall and Butchers Hall report? Okay, so we're happy that we've noted all of those. Item 10, finance and other matters. A, report of the assistant to the town clerk.
The only thing I would like to do, please, is remind you all about Remembrance Sunday. You've had your invitation, so if we could, as many people as possible, please attend. That would be very much appreciated.
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. I'd endorse that. The Remembrance Sunday service is one of the most important events in the civic year, and if the council is underrepresented, it does not look good for the rest of the town. So I would encourage you to please come and join with us as we remember the fallen. Deputy Mayor, you want to say a word about item? Sorry, Councillor Parker.
Yes, on the item 4, the training session with feedback. I attended a virtual session on the public conduct. That's the third session I've attended over the years. One for West Devon, one for West Devon, one for the Town Council, my first time round, and this is the third one. It was really interesting because, of course, the Town Council's Code of Conduct predates the Nolan Report and the LGA new model Code of Conduct, and the discussion that was had on the Zoom call, the Zoom conference, was very much based on the updated elements, particularly the LGA Code of Conduct. And my own view is that 5 years on, it may be time for us to, and the Town Clerk's smiling because this isn't new to him, I think it may be time for us to review our Code of Conduct to bring it more in line with the Nolan Report and the LGA Code. But it's a course that I very much recommend people to go on if they haven't yet been.
Okay, thank you very much. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to take the opportunity to congratulate and thank the assistant to the town clerk because according to paragraph 2 of her report, she has in fact managed to achieve a reduction in the cost of cleaning this building. I understand in the face of quite a fight, actually. I think it was quite a hard job to achieve. So I think that's great. Well done, Jan. Thank you.
Yeah. Following on from Councillor Parker's comment about a training event, I took part in the Mastering Emergency Planning training event on the 23rd of October, a virtual presentation, and actually that too was quite an eye-opener. It considered threats as diverse as surface water flooding, river flooding, epidemics, power outages, all of that sort of stuff. But there was quite a long session about terrorist activity and how even in a sedate market town like Tavistock, we're not immune to that sort of threat. Similarly, it looks as though we're probably not immune to Martin's Law when that comes into effect, certainly for some of our activities. And again, if the opportunity arises to attend that sort of training, I very much encourage it. But I think it also raises the question of whether I'm not even sure, I'm ashamed to say, whether we have an emergency plan to cover these sort of events and what contribution the Town Council can make towards it. And if we don't, I just wonder whether at some point that is another work group we need to establish. I know we're not the principal provider, but it was made very clear on this course that even so, town and parish councils can play a valuable part because of their hyper-local knowledge. Councillor Poppy.
Yeah, thank you. On that, I did speak to an organisation at DOC who provide support for crisis management emergency planning. They had a list of all the councils that did have an emergency plan submitted to them for review. We were not on that list. So I'm assuming that we don't have them.
Sorry.
No, we don't. We don't have a current one. Certainly, there is an ancient plan, which was an emergency plan and a business continuity plan. We don't have one currently. That's not a reason not to do it. We have had conversations with the Environment Agency in relation to whether or not a flood plan might be appropriate for the town. The outcome of those was, we said, we're happy to engage with you, but I think that when they looked at the town in detail, we fell off their priority list, partly because we don't have within the town things like sluices or water adjustment facilities. That's the sort of thing where when the community can actively participate and can divert the flow of water, put this in place, put that in place, then that's something which they're more likely to prioritise. And whilst we are in a flood risk zone, and we have been upgraded in terms of the flood risk for the town probably about 3-4 years ago, historically, most of the flooding which has taken place in recent years is surface water flooding as opposed to river flooding, but there clearly is an issue with that. So we don't have one which is specifically in relation to floods. One of the reasons why DALC are quite linked in is because they are an offshoot, if you like, in terms of their origins from the, is it Devon Communities Partnership? The Devon Communities Together, thank you very much. And that was a piece of work which Devon Communities Together very much did. So it's certainly something that we could pick up on. I think, just following on from what the Mayor said, my suggestion would be that if you do it, we do it on the basis of a very clear understanding, which is that if you come to a civil emergency, then you actually have statutory partners in relation to that. We are not a statutory body for the purpose of that. And in terms of those kind of activities, essentially our main role is how do you cover the 15 to 45 minutes before those partners actually arrive and take control through the standard, well, if it's a big enough one, gold, silver and bronze control centres and how they manage that. And at that point in time, we become participating bodies within that. But no reason why we shouldn't do it. And I think also, just picking up on a different point, Councillor Parker's observation in relation to the Code of Conduct, we do need also to look at the Code of Conduct, financial regulations, which some recent advice has come out in terms of updating that, and more generally our standing orders and some of our governance arrangements within the period of the next 12 to 18 months from that side of things. So we can certainly bring something to a Budget and Policy Committee meeting as to what the options might be, if that's agreeable to members, sir.
Yes. Sorry, Councillor Poppy.
Yeah, just a further point on that, I would point out that for Goose Fair, where Martin's Law will most likely apply, we did have a fairly robust plan for that. So that could serve as a framework for a wider resilience plan, or a business continuity resilience plan. So we do have a framework in place that we could use and adapt for a wider incident.
Yeah, sorry, wrong things. I think what I would say is that the business continuity plan is about how the council operates in the event of an emergency, fire, flood, pestilence, if you like. In terms of a community emergency plan, that's very different from an event safety plan, because what your community plan is really about is identifying resources on the ground which can cover that 15 to 45 minute period in terms of what you do and how you do it, because essentially you're going to be handing over. The event safety plan and management plan for Goose Fair is about us being the accountable body, and of course those are the statutory authorities, the police, the fire service, and the principal authorities in the event of a community event, from that side of things. Martin's Law, I think, is over the course of the next couple of weeks, we will have a very firm idea of what the provisions actually are. My understanding is that the original suggestion, I think, of events with 100 people has been taken to 200 people. So that is helpful, but of course for our main venues, that would still cover us, and we are going to need to think long and hard about how we actually manage that in a proportionate way, whilst at the same time meeting the necessary obligations for safety to the public, and also see whether or not outside events there are any changes. At the moment, Goose Fair as far as I'm aware, wouldn't be included because it is a non-ticketed event. But if that were to change, then that would have significant implications organisationally.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. 10B, notes of the Goose Fair operational meeting. The Goose Fair obviously has taken place. Hopefully everyone will agree it was successful. There is a wash-up meeting coming up next week, I think. No doubt we'll learn a little bit more about it. My understanding was that there were no problems and it actually went remarkably smoothly. So again, I think it's one for congratulations and thanks to our officers and staff who made it such a safe and enjoyable event. Notes of the Town Hall and Markets Consultative Group meeting. Any comments? Thank you. Notes of the Whitchurch Down Consultative Group meeting. No comments. West Devon Borough Councillor report. Thank you, Councillor Mann, for a very comprehensive report. Are you happy to take any questions? If so, if any members have any questions for Councillor Mann, this is your opportunity. Is there anything you'd like to add, Councillor Mann? Okay, thank you then. To receive any update from or questions to council representatives serving on other outside bodies in connection with the work of those bodies, Councillor Johnson.
Thank you. Very briefly, a Campton Rail meeting I attended recently. To the end of August, 300,000 people have taken journeys on the Dartmoor line, which is phenomenal, really, compared to the original predictions. Very successful line. Tavistock Rail, we're awaiting tomorrow's budget. We've worked hard to campaign for the Tavistock to Plymouth funding, and fingers crossed that we will still be included in the mix of railway projects. I mean, the government has recognised that one way for regeneration is by infrastructure projects and investment in them, so I'm hoping that that's going to be one of them. And Kingdom House has just appointed 3 new trustees, so we're moving on there. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Parker.
Thank you. A question, if I may, about Tavistock Rail. As I understand it, we've asked the government to fund 1% of the total cost in terms of business planning and such like. At the last that I heard, that would be about 1.5 million. As I understand it, and I think I've had this confirmed by Tavi Rail itself, the County Council already has 4.5 million put by in the Section 106 budget from Carrington Road. And I wonder whether, to move things forward and to show the commitment of the local community to this, why we're not using that money to fund that work instead.
I don't know if the leader of the Borough Council wants to chip in here, but yeah, the 1.5 million was required for updated business cases and for the GRIP report, which is the Governance of Railway Investment Project report. That would be undertaken by Network Rail. We are aware of the money that's held by Devon County Council for Section 106. We're pursuing the government to start with. Inquiries have already been made about the Section 106 as well. So there's a lot going on, Councillor Parker.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Okay, so feedback back from members following their attendance at training sessions. We've already had some of that. Does anyone want to add anything further? Item 11, to receive such communications or reports as may be submitted by the Town Mayor. I have nothing to pass on to you. Urgent matters, item 12, brought forward at the discretion of the Town Mayor, and again, I have nothing to share with you on that either. Which brings us to item 13, public...